I'm Christina Bunker, and I had the Battle of Fredericksburg. So some basic details is that the battle took place at Fredericksburg, Virginia on December 11th through December 15th, 1862, and the winner were the Confederates. So on the map here, the blue indicates where the Union was, and the red indicates where the Confederates were. So on the Union side, the general was Major General Ambrose Burnside, this man pictured here, and the army was the Union Army of the Potomac. And there were 3 grand divisions: the infantry corps, the cavalry, and the artillery. There were 120,000 troops, but only 114,000 troops would be engaged during the battle. And on the Confederate side, the general was Robert E. Lee, this man pictured here, and the army was the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia. There were 4 groups: the 1st Corps, the 2nd Corps, the Reserve Artillery, and the Cavalry. There were 79,000 troops, but only 72,500 troops would be engaged during the battle. So what exactly happened in Fredericksburg? So by mid-November, Burnside moved the Union troops to the north bank of the Rappahannock River across from Fredericksburg, Virginia. And this map shows where the river is. So in response to the Union Army's advance, Robert E. Lee moved his troops to the south side of the river. The Rappahannock River was too deep for the Union to cross, so Burnside was forced to wait for the pontoon bridges, which were mobile bridges that the army could use to cross the river. The holdup at the river and a miscommunication between Burnside and Henry Halleck, this man here, who was the general chief of all Union armies, allowed Confederate troops to secure a strong position on Mars Heights, a hill that would be controlled by the Confederates for the duration of the battle. So on December 11th, Burnside led his troops across the Rappahannock River, while Stonewall Jackson, this man pictured here, led his corps that were connecting with James Longstreet's troops, creating a 3-mile-long blockade. On December 13th, Burnside's left troops were attacking Lee's right troops, while the rest of the troops attempted an assault on the Confederate troops on Mars Heights, which is pictured here. General George Meade was able to temporarily block Jackson's troops, but more Union troops were not sent forward, so Jackson was able to lead a successful counterattack. The troops of Mars Heights held a stronger position with a high ground and slaughtered the Union troops. So the results were that it was a Confederate victory. There was an estimated 18,500 casualties, with 12,000 of those being Union casualties and 6,000 of those being Confederate casualties. It was estimated that there were 8 Union casualties for every 1 Confederate casualty. So William Thompson Lusk, this man here, was an officer in the 79th New York Infantry who observed the battle from a distance. So he was not active during the battle, but he observed it from a distance. He described that, "Gone are the proud hopes, the high aspirations that swelled their bosoms a few days ago. Once more unsuccessful, and only a bloody record to show our men were brave. Then suddenly the hills seemed to vomit forth smoke, wrathing them in obscurity. Then followed the thunder of the cannon, intermingled with the screaming of bursting shells. There had been enough blood fruitlessly shed, said the most. No more the madness and folly which will only result in certain destruction of our army. 10,000 men lost, and the enemy sits unharmed in his trenches." So the significance to the Civil War is that Burnside was removed from command, and General Joseph Hooker, this man here, was put in his place. The victory of Fredericksburg reinvigorated the Confederate Army's morale. The reinvigoration of the Army led to the victory of the Confederacy at Chancellorsville. And the defeat of the Union led to a shakeup in Lincoln's cabinet, which are these men pictured here, where both Secretary of State William Seward and Secretary of the Treasury Salmon Chase both offered to resign. However, Lincoln refused both of these cabinet resigns, limiting the political repercussions of the defeat of Fredericksburg. And I have my extra citations here, and my works cited page. Thank you.